Welcome to the Mobile Economy Podcast. This week we will be talking about automated delivery robots as well as a new app that automates the delivery of food.
All right, so we had a couple questions on the last episode about our top 10 food truck tips. So do you want to go over one of those questions, Eric?
Yeah, the top question we got in was somebody who is looking at starting a food truck was asking the question going, in my business plan, is 3 food trucks going to make me more money and more profit than one? To that, we have seen a number of operators who do operate multiple food trucks in this market as well as in other markets that are doing a lot of franchise trucks. So yes, you can make more money with 3 food trucks in concept, but what I would suggest and what we have seen work best is work on your first truck and figure out exactly what works best for having that single food truck. Get your model right before you go out and buy truck number 2 and 3. We have also seen food truck operators who have expanded their fleet and gone from 1 to 2 to 3 to unfortunately find themselves back at square zero because what was working for 1 food truck didn't work for 3. And a lot of what happens there is you try to get economy of scale. You think that the effect of having 3 for being everywhere is going to be so much better, but it may or may not be the case. That is if the food trucks are operating 3 of the same food concepts. Now, we do have a couple successful operators who operate 5 trucks, and they operate 5 different types of food and 5 different, totally different point of views on the food. But what is very universal about those 5 trucks is all 5 of those trucks have really good food. So
Right.
that's the most important thing, is making sure that the product that you're putting out is really good.
And you also want to keep in mind that with multiple trucks, you're getting multiple food that you have to, all of your equipment and produce and anything else. It's tripling up your prices if you're getting multiple trucks. So you just want to keep that in mind, because with more trucks, sure, you could possibly make more revenue, but you're also going to be spending more money. So you got to figure out that
important
balance.
Yeah, with 3 of the same type of food truck, you definitely get that scale of being able to share the product between them. Whereas if you have one that's barbecue and one that's Asian, you're not going to have a whole lot of overlap between the food products that you're buying there.
Yep.
So, all right, next we're going to talk about delivery robots. So there's a company out in Tempe, Arizona. They got $40 million to expand and build out their fleet of these 6-wheeled mini robots. Now, robots and delivery robots are something that we have talked about on the podcast before. Most of the time, those robots were about this tall and were running around the restaurants to deliver food and servicing the patrons. The food delivery robots we're looking at today are a much smaller frame. They stand about 2 feet tall, and their intention is to go across parking lots and into buildings and to actually bring the food from different sources in. Actually very excited to see this, and we'll be reaching out to the owners of that company to see if that is something they want to beta at one of our locations. The concept there is that you can have the food prepared at a fixed base cafe at one of the on-site locations or at a food truck in our case, and have the robots show up at the food truck to pick up the food. The operators of the food truck load the food into the delivery mechanism, and then it take it into the building and up to the floor and to the reception desk of that company. So it's not delivering it right to your desk in most cases is what they're looking for. They're looking at it to be a replacement for the runner and of the person. Pre-COVID, if you were in downtown Raleigh, it was very popular that the elevators around lunchtime would be people leaving the buildings of like the Red Hat building and going out en masse, and those elevators were going back up with the Jimmy John and sandwich deliveries and a lot of people bringing in food via the elevators. So much safer to have a fleet of these little robots, delivering the food to the to people versus having the elevators full of people. Now, it does bring up a couple interesting challenges. I am not exactly sure how these robots are going to handle opening doors. So property managers may have to put in something that looks like a doggy door to let the robot to come in. Programming elevators is actually very easy because, especially like freight elevators and stuff, most of the time those have access control systems on them today, and it probably will not be that hard for somebody to interface into the elevator system, but it is going to take some interesting mapping to have it work out. It'll be interesting to see how it works out. Their beta market is coming online later this year, which will be, as I understand from their TechCrunch articles and public website, will be Washington, D.C., as well as some expansion in Tempe, Arizona. So.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how those turn out and where they go with it in the future, even in this coming year with the pandemic still going on. A lot of things are going to be potentially permanently change the way that we work, especially when it comes to food delivery and contact services like that. A lot of stuff has a lot of automation to it now with the food delivery, so it'll be exciting to see where that goes to.
Yeah, I like that word, automation.
Yeah.
So that's something that I think would be a good buzzword for 2021. Anything exciting going on in the app world around that?
Yeah, so on that note, we actually have a Durham native. His name is Rich Schreiber. He created an automated food delivery service called On the Way Foods. This service is accompanied by a mobile app. And it may sound like any other online food delivery like Grubhub or DoorDash or something like that. However, the key difference here is the automation. So when multiple users in a given area order food through this app, Schreiber's delivery service has drivers that will take a van out with these multiple orders from, it could be one restaurant or a couple restaurants in the area. It'll park at a central location and the users will get notified that their food is ready to be picked up. So it's kind of in between a delivery and a pickup service in the sense that the van will come to a specific area near you, and that's kind of central to these multiple users who have ordered food, but you'll still go and pick it up. The cool part about this, though, is that the app does everything for you. So you don't have to have any contact with the delivery driver or with any humans at all, really. You'll just go and pay through the app, order your food. You'll get the notification that the food has arrived. You go to the van and you actually can swipe on the app to open up the tailgate of the van where they have these warming trays to make sure all your food is staying heated. Schreiber has kept in mind the pandemic and how a lot of people are still worried about ordering takeout because they're worried about the sanitary aspect of it. So he actually has set these warmers inside of the van to be at a high enough temperature to sterilize the boxes of the food. So it's keeping your food warm while keeping it safe as well.
Nice.
So that's just another aspect to the contactless, very COVID conscious aspect of this delivery service. So the app is actually called FOOZZAM. It's FOOZZAM. And they're working on a beta test for it at the moment. So if you want more information on this app, when you could get it and where you can download it, and find out when they expand to Raleigh and hopefully eventually outside of North Carolina to some other states, you can go to FOOZZAM.com, same spelling as the app, and that has all of the updates that you need for it. I think this is a really cool concept, and it really cuts back again on the all the worries that people have about ordering food during COVID. It still helps the restaurants because it's giving them plenty of business because of all these precautions that are being taken. And then the delivery van drivers are actually being paid a living wage because the app has no tips and no delivery fees. Now with that, it's actually cutting down the cost for the user. So you're only paying for the food that you order. Whereas apps like Grubhub or DoorDash, they have a pretty hefty
they take a pretty
it.
heavy percentage of what's being charged there, which ultimately comes out of the consumer's pocket and also some out of the restaurant's pocket in a lot of cases. But
Right.
it'd be kind of neat at some point if they're linked up with the Starship robots, so that they're the ones that bring out to a facility and load it into the delivery robots. I'm kind of envisioning a bunch of those robots as ants. They get loaded up with the food and then take off to 20 different buildings. But what is exciting about that is one of the big inefficiencies that we saw, here through COVID and pre-COVID, is it's not uncommon for for there to be multiple deliveries to the same office complex from the same restaurant or sandwich shop, and that's not very efficient when you have that truck going back and forth 5 times during the lunch hour to deliver. So aggregating it together and pulling the orders is actually more cost effective, more efficient, and keeping it warm is going to be a better product probably.
Exactly. And with the no service fees on the app, it's really going to get more people to actually want to order from a restaurant and use this app, because they know that they're not going to be charged all this extra stuff. And that'll really help out the restaurant, because I would assume that people will just be a lot more likely to order out and they'll get a lot more business, which is awesome to hear. For a lot of restaurants have been struggling. Some of them have shut down permanently. So it's really nice to see stuff like this that's going to help out the local businesses.
And speaking of the sanitization and the cleaning aspects, that's a good segue that Moblz and us have a talk coming up, which will be at the BOMA event, which will be BOMA Orlando on February 17th. It's a virtual event, but we're talking with property managers again about doing events such as now not just food trucks, but we're talking about fitness events, health events, and also the use of mobile services. This is something that Moblz and myself have done multiple talks. We actually had an event right before COVID hit in Nashville, and before that we went to BOMA in Salt Lake City and did a big event out there talking about how to use these mobile service providers to bring these mobile amenities to office complexes, and now we're doing that with apartment complexes and places. The talk will look a lot different than it did back at Salt Lake City. COVID has brought a lot more realization of what to do around keeping people separated and safe. Whereas before, if you look back, it's funny how things have changed. Mm-hmm. BOMA in Salt Lake City, we were trying to get crowds. So now we're trying to get business for the food trucks, business for the mobile vendors, but we're not trying to get a big mob of people out there. So what used to be the ideal, which was having a line of 25 people, is not what we want anymore. We want a spaced out, very organized, very automated flow of people. But this will be a pretty good event. We'll have some recording from that we'll be able to post afterwards. And we're very happy that we have Spiffy and the founder of Spiffy, Scott Wingo, is going to be on that panel with us. And it's going to be led by Moblz's Becky Hanner, who's been part of the BOMA organization now as a BOMA fellow and working with them nationally throughout the country, as well as these different regions. So it's us getting back involved with the national organization as well as with places like Nashville and Orlando, where we're expanding our services.
Yeah, I'm excited to see some of the recording, or rather hear some of the recording from that event and see what you all have to say.
So how did our events over the last 2 weeks go?
They've been pretty good, actually. We've had multiple blood drive events over the course of this month, and we're really excited to see people actually coming out and donating blood, because it's really important now more than ever with COVID. There's still blood shortages. So anybody that can come out and donate, we really, really thank you and appreciate that. And if you're interested in doing something like that, we actually have a couple more events coming up over the next couple weeks. So one of them is next Wednesday on January 27th at the Imperial Center in Durham. So we're doing that blood drive event with American Red Cross. If you visit our Facebook event page, just search Moblz on Facebook. We have a registration link for that. In the event page, it's titled Blood Drive and Food Truck Event.
And again, please come out, and if it's not our blood drives, it's other blood drives. Every time you give a pint of blood, you help out 4 people. at the Red Cross blood drive that we had, I think it was 2.5 weeks ago, we had somebody who hit a 5-gallon milestone, which really means that her blood donations have helped over 200 people. For one person to be able to affect the lives of 200 people via her blood donations. Of course, that was over a number of years to be able to do that. It was about 12 years worth of donations, but it was very touching to meet somebody who is so regular about it, that has given that amount of blood and has also given a number of plasma donations over the years, and was very happy to have them out at one of our drives.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's an awesome person right there.
Yep.
We also have another event coming up in the beginning of February. It's going to be Friday, February 5th. It's our second annual Valentine's pop-up event. The exciting thing about this event is that we're going to have multiple handmade gift vendors. So we have like soaps, skincare, sweet treats, jewelry, all kinds of really fun, crafty local vendors that will really allow you to search and get a really unique gift for your loved one for Valentine's Day, which is why we're having it February 5th and not actually on Valentine's Day. We're really trying to help you out there with the planning and getting something really special for your significant other.
Are you saying that this
else.
is for try to keep the guys from buying something last minute at the
Yes, don't
at
buy
the
her a
gas
heart
station?
necklace.
Okay.
Don't buy her a little heart-shaped diamond necklace unless she specifically asks for it.
No, these are definitely good local vendors, and this is the type of event that we're doing here and other places throughout the country. We've coordinated a number of these type of events, and it's something we've done now a number of times, which is bring in community vendors to a property as well as a food truck, combine it all together so you've got some good space local commerce going on without having to go to a shopping mall, and to give back to the community by working with these small locally owned businesses.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And when you show up to these events, not only are you going to be supporting the blood drive, the food truck, the vendors, but we actually have a couple little fun gifts to give out to you guys for free. So Eric mentioned that he's doing this BOMA event with Spiffy, and we partner with Spiffy to make a promo code, and you'll get an actual little card for the promo code to use. It's nationwide. It's good until December 31st. Along with that, we have these adorable little penguin plush keychains from Spiffy, as well as some fun little Moblz goodies as well. So when you come out to these events, we're going to have those these next couple of weeks. And if you want to have a little grab bag of goodies in addition to whatever.
Yeah, who doesn't like the freebies?
Exactly.
Right.
Freebies are awesome. I love them. So that, along with, some awesome handcrafted jewelry, soap, whatever it is you choose to buy, that's just a nice little extra thing that we're going to throw in there for you and anyone that wants to come out and support all of these people with us.
We also have the upcoming event in Orlando. That will be at Crane's Landing in Winter Park. For more information on that, go to our Facebook page and look at the events. All of our events across the country will be listed on our event page, as well as on Instagram post around the upcoming to the event. But the best place to get the information is to follow us on Facebook, as well as follow us here on our YouTube channel. Now that we are putting out this information in a video format, we'd love for you to like the video and subscribe to the video so that you can be updated every time we're putting out new videos and are telling you about events. We will have many more of them coming up throughout the year, and this is a great way for you to keep engaged with the mobile economy events that we've got going on throughout the country.
Yep, and on Facebook, we're just Moblz. It's Moblz. On Instagram, we're Moblz_com. So it's just Moblz_com. And if you're watching on YouTube, you already know where we are. But if you're listening to this podcast, same thing, Moblz, Moblz. Search that up on YouTube. We've got our logo and everything on there, so you should be able to find us pretty easily. Make sure you like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, like us on Instagram and Facebook, and we will see you next time.